Hello, welcome to Ycft. We hope you all had a happy Valentine's Day. If all goes to plan, this should be coming out like the day after Valentine's Day. We are talking about vampires.
Yeah.
Well, you chucked that out.
No, this classic movie.
This absolute classic
This
movie.
vampire classic.
This vampire classic. I think we probably can't call it a cult
I
classic.
guess so.
Even though it didn't do that well when it came out. We are talking about Once Bitten.
Yeah.
Released in 1985, directed by Howard Storm. Sam still has her cold.
I'm still ill. Yes.
That'll be at least for one more video,
Yeah,
and then this.
Sorry, guys.
And then we're having a 2-week break for you to fully recover.
Hang on in there.
Yeah, I was supposed to say I haven't forced Sam into recording this today.
No, it was like we did need to record, so it's fine. And as like this is actually better than what it has been. So
It's not bad. Remember when we recorded the Jeepers Creepers Reborn one, and you absolutely had COVID symptoms.
I did have COVID.
I don't think it was confirmed for you until like the day after, but you were not well.
No.
This is, I said, it's a vampire film released in 1985, starring Jim Carrey in his first major Hollywood film.
Yeah.
As a leading man.
Yeah.
Which is very interesting. I want to say that he wasn't the first choice. The writer's choice was actually Michael J. Fox.
Yes.
But producers didn't think that Michael J. Fox could carry a movie. I mean, a little movie called Back to the Future came out that year.
Yes.
Also, it's quite the same year. He did end up starring in a very similar movie, but as a werewolf in Teen Wolf.
In Teen Wolf, yeah.
So, I will say, there's one particular scene I want to talk about later on regarding, like, Michael. But I don't think there's anything in this movie that he couldn't have done, apart from one scene.
I agree.
That being said, Jim Carrey is a delight.
As he always is.
As he always is. And it's interesting seeing a lot of, like, the Jim Carrey isms in their very early stage. Jim Carrey plays Mark Kendall. He is a virgin. That is actually an important part of this story.
Oh, it is. I'm just like imagining like you introducing a friend like that. This is my friend Mark. He's a virgin.
He's dating a girl called Robin. Do you know of the actress?
Karen Coppins.
Who actually, she's on the poster for this, but she wasn't supposed to. She was a last minute addition because she tested quite positively in the test screenings.
Yeah, I like that as well. People really
I like it. I really like her character.
Yeah.
So Mark's job, he has an ice cream van. He's in high school, but he has an ice cream van.
Yeah, he does.
And it's weird because to me, if a character has an ice cream van, it's usually quite a creepy thing.
Yes,
but
suspicions are aroused.
Yeah, the film opens with them like essentially at like a make-out point, and all the cars are like shaking around them and like bare ass and some terrible technique.
I've got to say, what the fuck are these positions that people are in these cars? Like like a car is a bit of an awkward place to have sex. Like I grant you, but the legs that are akimbo out the window. What's going on there? What is going on?
Jim Carrey, Mark, really wants to have sex with his partner, Rob. They've been together for a while, and she's apprehensive. She wants to be ready. She does say she really wants to.
She loves him. She wants to.
She just wants to make sure it's right time. Which frustrates him. And I think considering he's literally surrounded by people having sex.
Yeah, there's that moment he's in like the car park, he's like...
Yeah. So his friends decide to take him to Hollywood. And I think this film was initially meant to show much more of the seedier side of Hollywood, wasn't it? But I think they went for more like extravagant and just weird. Like you see someone walking a lion. He's also worried that he won't be able to perform when he does. Because he's never done it before, and he gets so nervous. So they're basically taking him out so he can try and pull and be. It's a dick move. Yeah. It's the one thing I don't like about Mark's character is going to cheat on her so that you could give her a better time the first time it's not good.
It's still cheating on her, Mark.
It is still
that is not
cheating
good
on her.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about the sex side of things in a little bit. So they go to this club, and it's weirdly like I know a similar club to this. The club I'm talking about isn't a swingers club. This basically is a swingers club, isn't it? There's phones on the bar, so you ring other tables, like chat to them and see if you want to go. There's a bar near that I've been to. It wasn't that type of club, but it wasn't underground. It was a hidden club. I think that actually now has a full sign and a bouncer outside the front, because there is. If you don't tell people where your bar is, it's not going to do very. But I remember the menus were like old porno mags. It was weird, but you had phones on the bar, so you could ring the bar. Like there was like a directory telling you what number to ring the bar to order drinks, or you could ring other tables.
Oh, okay.
Which was quite cool. So it's like I've never seen
I see.
Yeah, just Hollywood being Hollywood.
It's
A lot of weird
Hollywood.
scenes, some quirky characters.
Yeah.
His friends are just like hopeless.
Absolutely hopeless. Also virgins.
Yeah.
Not really knowing what they're doing. Desperate beyond belief to have sex. And so the three of them are just going to this club and hoping for the best, essentially.
Yeah. Mark grabs the attention of the Countess, played by...
the gorgeous Lauren Hunt.
I think she was a model, wasn't she?
She was a model turned actress.
She is a vampire. A couple of centuries old, maybe about 400 years old, maybe even a bit older. X amount of time, every 100 years, something like that, she has to drink the blood of a virgin to remain beautiful.
Yes.
And it's very specific. And I quite like how they changed the vampire lore in this one.
Yeah.
She has to, it's like down here, as close to the untapped sexual potential.
Yeah.
She has to drink from him 3 times before Halloween.
Yeah.
So she's basically, so there's lots of talk, like conversations about how it's hard, virginity's harder to come by.
Being a vampire in the 20th century is hard.
Yeah.
Because there's no virgins.
Virgin blood isn't easy to come by these days, Countess.
You're telling me.
Yeah, everyone's out in sex. That's what we saw in the beginning of the movie.
It was finally like back in the 17th century when everyone was waiting till marriage.
Yeah.
Not so much now.
So she targets Mark. And I'm actually going to go back to the sex thing now. Yeah. Now we know what the big bad wants.
Yes.
And I think it's really interesting when you look at like how virginity is portrayed in movies. Like often with your heroines, even in slashers, they're portrayed like if you are a virgin, a lot of the time it can put you in danger because things like vampires like the taste of virgins. But if it's something like a slasher, being virtuous and virginal can usually mean you can survive.
It will save you.
It can save you. It can save your life. Ironically, in this movie, being a virgin is literally what puts him in danger.
Sex will save him.
Sex will save him.
Yeah.
But also I want to talk about films, especially in the 80s, even coming up to like the early 2000s. There was always so much emphasis on having sex when you're in high school. And there's even a conversation in this film about how he doesn't feel like a real man.
Yeah.
And I think that's a real... It's something like when you watch it seems harmless enough, but I suppose like when there's loads of movies that have a very similar plot point about this, you have a lot of young men who then suddenly start thinking that they're not men until they've had sex. And I think it leads to a lot of people trying to have sex that are too young and not ready for it. Potentially then young men who, again, thinking they need to have it, potentially pressuring young women who aren't quite ready into thinking they should as well. And you just end up with a whole generation of people who are having sex when they're realistically too young to
do it, because it's like, get it out of the way.
If you're so interested in my sexual failures, why don't you go out and have a few of your own?
Like I said, no doubt, what Mark is doing in this film, it's wrong. It's absolutely wrong. He shouldn't be going off to hook up with someone else just so that he can...
Yeah.
Thinking he's doing it for her, but really he's doing it for him.
For himself.
But I said that this type of thing of like content of characters desperately wanting to have sex. Even like going up to the early 2000s with The In-Betweeners, which was massive with that whole plot of that is that those 4 characters want to have sex.
Yeah.
I find it interesting just how it's been portrayed. And I don't know if a lot of people talk about it enough, just how films have basically made young men think that they need to have sex as early as they can, basically as soon as they hit puberty, in order to be men.
Yeah.
And when you actually think of that in context, considering like usually high school characters in films are played a lot of times so they can work longer hours because of childhood roles, they're always going to be in their early 20s. Yeah. They're going to be over 21. Yeah. So you've got characters who are realistically going to be 13, 14, 15, played by 22, 23, 24, 25, 30-year-olds telling you that you should have, or making you feel like you should have sex as soon as you can. Yeah. It's messed up.
It is messed up. And yeah, like the concept of virginity, I think in horror is always been rampant. Like you were saying with slashers, like for the final girl, if she's a virgin, then chances are she's going to survive because she's the good girl and she's pure and she deserves to survive. And obviously, like you go back to like the old monster movies, and being a virgin, unfortunately, is what would attract the monster to you. They can sense the purity. So it's always kind of rampant throughout the genre.
It's like Cabin in the Woods, when at the very end the sacrifice needs to be a virgin. Oh, I'm not a virgin. Oh, we take what we can get.
We'll take what we can get. Again, it's like,
that's
we're in this century now.
Virtuous in personality, but isn't a virgin.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like an extension of like
Yeah.
what is being shown here in
So
the
it's
80s.
like with Mark in this movie, it's I think he compares it to like a driver's test for your manhood.
Yes.
It's like something that like you literally need to like pass a test in order to be. And he's a good guy. Like deep down, like he is a really nice guy. But the pressure that he has and the fear, and also like the desire that he has,
Rampant hormones.
ultimately leads him to doing this, really bad thing of cheating on his girlfriend of so many years because
And
he
puts
just
him in danger.
wants to get it out of the way. Yeah. And also similarly, I think from Robin's point of view, is his girlfriend, like we said, she also really wants to have sex. Like she's very horny and she loves this guy. She just when the moment comes down to it, she's just not quite ready.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Well, she doesn't want to have sex in the front of an
would?
ice cream van.
No, and like in a public car park as well. Like absolutely not. But it's also like the guilt that she feels as a consequence of that, of like, I really want to have sex. My partner really wants to have sex. And I'm the one that's blocking it. I'm the one that's stopping it. And like she feels bad about that. So it's, as you said, like it is a very light-hearted movie at the end of the day. It's a silly little like throwaway horror.
This is about as serious as the conversation gets. It gets way more lighthearted after this.
But I think that the theme surrounding sex and the pressures of sex and being young and having sex when you're probably a bit too young to be having sex to like understand the full kind of, gravity of it. It's like it's interesting how it is explored here. I
Yeah.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
We'd like to shout out our groovy members. We appreciate everything you do for this channel and helping us grow. You guys are awesome. The Countess hones in on him. Says that it was the purest that she's ever had. Because she gets him back to a place. Basically, like, there's a theme of her biting his buttons off.
Yeah.
So that's how he describes it when Robin eventually finds out she bit off her buttons. What you do biting off your buttons?
Yeah.
And he can't really remember what happens.
No.
He kind of passes out after she's like, we just hear like a, ow, and it's like she's bit him.
She's bitten.
Yeah.
In the
I
leg.
love her, but I want to say butler.
Yeah, he
She
kind
has,
of is.
yeah,
Butler, companion,
Sebastian.
yeah, Sebastian, yes.
I think he's great. There's one line where like he comes out of the closet and just goes, "What you doing in the closet? And what are you doing in the closet?" Or something like that. He goes, "I came out the closet centuries ago." I really like just the way he walks, his mannerisms, the way he delivers his lines.
Okay, Sebastian. Out of the closet.
I came out of the closet centuries ago.
Very amusing. Come on, help me.
I love his character. He's so funny.
He is. And like they are a lot of fun together as well. It's like I want to know how they met. Like how did they come to like be hanging out?
There's several other vampires in the house, like living in the basement. They all have different coffins based on the era that they get. Obviously, all the different virgin men throughout.
Accumulating.
There's like three different
girls in there as well.
There is some girls in there. So at some point, she decided to experiment. Well, it's also like, does it specifically have to be a virgin boy? Are they just someone that she's had at some point?
I think at the beginning she says it's a virgin male that she needs. So I think maybe the girls, maybe some of the boys too, are just bit
of fun
that she likes to keep around.
But there's like 3 Friday the 13th alumni in this as well in various roles. That night she gets the first taste.
She does,
and Robin finds out.
Yeah,
but she does kind of forgive him fairly quickly. But he already starts acting a bit strangely, like his parents think he's on drugs because he keeps like, we notice at the very beginning, his friends work in a burger place. He likes his burger like charcoal. Then suddenly he wants it like rare. And so he even just asks for like a rare burger, red meat. He drinks. His mum's like draining a steak of its blood, and he drinks like the glass. His dad comes in and he's sleeping in like a box.
Yeah.
So weird things start happening, and it's not that he can't go out in the sun. Just starts wearing like shades and stuff, and his appearance starts to change.
Looking cooler, like looking a bit edgier, and like looking not like Mark.
Robin still likes him, but I think she's not too fond of the changes. But she does kind of she does forgive him.
Yeah.
And so ultimately, because he can't remember that, I think in her mind there's still a chance that he hasn't done it.
Yeah.
This is when we get the second instance. He goes to the shop where she works, and I always love Robin's outfits.
Yeah.
They're so 80s.
Yeah.
I just want to say, this film, when they first go to Hollywood, you get like the main theme by Free Speed called Once Bitten. Once bitten, you won't be no rainbow. Once bitten, we're singing in a rainbow. I watched this film like twice last year. I just stumbled across it on like Freevee.
I know.
Then like a week later, I was like, you need to watch this film. And it's like, we'll do this as the Valentine's video. So probably the 3 times in 6 months we've watched this.
Probably, yeah.
More than anybody else has.
Yeah, that's true. It is an enjoyable movie.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
And it's a scene that I really, really like. So he asks Robin to get him a bunch of different outfits to try on. So he goes into the changing room and she's there. The Countess is there. And then, let's be fair, a really poorly done set extension. They try to show her not having a reflection.
Yeah.
And in some scenes it works really well. Obviously they filmed it just without there, but they've tried at one point to have like just a pane of glass and a body double for Jim Carrey and for her, but the movements are off. They don't time up properly.
Off, yeah.
And I think it's only for like one scene, and maybe it was longer and they cut it down.
Maybe.
But it still does the job of sounding like, oh, obviously there wouldn't be a body double for her because she doesn't have a reflection. Body double for Mark. Just try and obviously sell that she doesn't.
Yeah.
That vampire lore, and this is when she gets her second bite. I actually really like this scene because she's basically talking to Jim Carrey, and every time Robin throws in an outfit for it, she throws it back, and
Yeah.
he'll exclaim at her. Robin thinks he's talking to her, and that's gonna be pink. I swear, I got him. I'm going to vomit and instantly throw. It's a really, really fun scene, and it ends with Mark being bitten again and passing out again. Mark starts getting even more vampiric. He starts dressing in black. He's very pale. His hair's even slicked back. It leads to like one of my favourite scenes in the movie. 80s dance scenes at a school. Yeah. And it's a fancy dress party. So I think who were they supposed to go as? Jack and Jill?
They were meant to go as Jack and Jill.
So Robin went as Jill.
Yeah.
He's like, I didn't have time to get a costume. But everyone thinks he came dressed as a vampire.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not
a vampire.
I'm not wearing a costume.
Yeah.
This scene here in the dance is the only scene I think Michael J. Fox couldn't do. And I know there is a scene in the dance in Teen Wolf, but so the Countess he starts dancing with Robin and the Countess turns up, and what ends up happening is this incredible scene of the two of them trying to dance with Mark, trying to win his affections.
So bizarre.
And you see him like Jim Carrey's just like horrified. There's a moment where they both have him between his arms and he's doing like the Jim Carrey. The particular movements that only Jim Carrey could do. Would see him very prominently in Ace Ventura. And during that scene, I'm like, the certain dance moves they do, I'm like, Michael couldn't have done this.
I agree.
This is Jim Carrey's moment to shine. The physical comedy that he can do. And that, I think this is where like Robin really starts like coming to her own, because suddenly like she starts trying to make herself.
For him, yeah.
She stands up for him, but then she's like ripping off her costume down to like a leotard so that she can dance, have a dance off with this 400-year-old vampire without realizing. This is where Robin really comes into her own. She stands up for a man, but also I think a bit for herself. Like, this woman took her man for an evening.
Yeah.
And now, for some reason, she's here and has stolen him from her. She didn't actually act for that long. I think eventually she married a high school sweetheart in the 90s.
Karen Coppins.
Yeah. She married a high school sweetheart and I think then just became a mum after that. But she's really good in this, and she must have been a dancer for some of the moves that she was doing.
Maybe.
And that whole scene, I think, it's just fabulous. And you got the whole school just watching onwards. Sebastian's watching onwards just with this look of like...
Well, the thing I really love about the whole sequence is it basically just turned into Grease at one point. Because obviously, like, if you imagine Robin as Sandy, Mark is obviously Danny, and then in comes Cha-Cha, who's the Countess in this, and steals Danny away. And then unlike Grease, where Sandy just kind of like saunters off in a huff, you know, Robin actually kind of like, no, I'm gonna fight for my man.
yeah, it's like it's fantastic, and she wins. Like, well, Mark also, you won the costume contest. He's like, I'm not wearing a costume.
Mark Kendall as a vampire.
I'm not wearing a costume.
So they leave, and this is the first time where I think he generally thinks something's up because he looks and his reflection has disappeared.
Yeah.
And it's back and it's not, so he's...
This is where Robin sees it too.
Robin sees it too. And she starts then going on researching about vampires, specifically about female vampires. Again, it's the lore side that I really like. By the books, this is when we find out it has to be bitten in the leg as close to the groin. Yeah. As well. And there is a big artery there, so it does make sense.
It would make sense.
So they kidnap Robin. The Countess kind of realizes that like she's got a hold on Mark that she can't break.
Yeah.
Also, because she has this like massive like nude portrait of herself just up in the
well,
house.
I think like the inference is like the Countess hasn't had to fight too hard to get male attention. Yeah. Whereas Mark is the first one, like the first virgin she's probably had that actually is in like a very committed, attached relationship.
So they go to rescue Robin. He grabs his friends.
As useless as they are.
As useless as they are, to go and storm this mansion.
Yeah.
And it's obviously a trap, and he ends up getting captured. And again, chased by vampires throughout the mansion, and he ends up on like what looks like a birthing table.
It does actually, yeah.
So that she can perform like the final bite. There's also a couple of cool moments. Weird moments where Mark's like dreams of the Countess and they're in like a white room. And at one point he's like in full vampire gown, like Jim Carrey looks great as a vampire in those moments. But they're so like strange. Again, on the table, about to be, fed to the Countess. It's Halloween night, hence why the dance.
Yeah.
So Robin, again standing up for a man, grabs a candle to try and scare off the vampires, and has a cross as well. And this is where we find out that Potter's Law, that doesn't work. That only works in the movies, which like fire on the other hand. It's like, well, she took this fire from this fiery stick candle.
Yes.
From your ceremony.
Yes.
So self-respecting vampire probably shouldn't have things that they're scared of.
Yeah.
Because one of them would have had to light that.
It only works in the movies. Besides, I'm an atheist. Fire! On the other hand...
Yeah, that's a good point.
So then rescues Mark. His friends decide to like try and hold them off for a little bit while they're running through the endless tunnels in this house. But the thing is, like, Mark's trying to pull his pants up, and again, this is Jim Carrey's physical acting. His pants, they're on backwards, inside out, and the vampires keep popping up, and all the vampire actors really commit.
Oh yeah, they do.
And they're like, probably like...
Yeah.
But they're also so shit.
I know.
They fumbling all over the place.
Oh yeah.
It's like, no wonder vampires haven't taken over the world. Like, they cannot catch people.
No, they're fucking useless.
I know at one point, the actor plays Robin, punched one of them, but properly hit him and like knocked his fangs out.
Oh yeah.
And that punch is in the movie.
Yeah, it is. It's a good punch as well.
It's a funny chase throughout the house, and like, I remember the music goes. The music almost feels like Superman. It's weirdly like out of place. But there's one moment in it that I particularly really like, where one of them, like, because there's been a couple like come out the floor, bursting through doors. One goes like punch the door. She goes, "Well, will you try the knob first? I have to replace every door you people break."
I have to replace every door you people smash. Can't you at least try the knob first?
Jocks.
And the doors just open.
It just opens.
I don't know why I really enjoy like. I don't think she has any like affection for them after they're vampires.
I don't think she does. Like, she just keeps them around, I assume, for the company.
Yeah.
It's a long eternity.
Yeah.
As a vampire. You don't want to be lonely.
And even like, you can tell Mark was going to go the same way because he's got like a nice big coffin waiting there. Like, oh, why is his nice? It's the 80s. Everything's bigger.
Yeah.
The coffin is shaking.
Oh, it is vibrating.
Yeah. And it opens and Mark and Robin come out. Robin first, so she kind of like locks eyes with it.
Cigarette as well.
No, Jim Carrey goes with 2 cigarettes and then passes one to her. It's like, well, you're only in there for a few seconds. You couldn't have. And so,
You couldn't have. You've been in there less than a minute. You could have.
You could have. You could have.
And they did.
And then
They did, guys.
yeah, having sex saved his life.
It literally saved his ass.
It literally saved him.
And then they go back in for seconds.
Then they go back in seconds after the Countess has turned into an old woman.
Yeah. I love it. There's a scene earlier on, just after they break Jim free from the table, just before she can complete the ritual. And Robin goes up to the Countess, doesn't she? And she's like, he doesn't want you. He wants me because I'm good and I'm nice and I'm pure. So why don't you just fuck off?
He wants me because I'm nice and sweet and pure. So fuck off!
Fuck off. Yeah, I can see why they added her to the poster. I really liked her.
I do really like it. It's like, ultimately the Countess doesn't die. She's just, she's like physically regressed back to like, this very ancient old looking woman. Even then, like, she doesn't look too bad, really. She just looks like slightly older. And then Sebastian is just like, oh, don't worry, there's always tomorrow.
Basically going to take her somewhere where it might be a bit easier.
Yeah, I just told the Countess. So something I really like is when we're first introduced to her and Sebastian and just like their lifestyle together is She is a vampire that's very capable of moving with the times, clearly, because she looks like a very typical 80s socialite. You know, it's like she wakes up out of her coffin and he presents her with what looks like a Bloody Mary.
Bloody Mary.
And, like, she appreciates the vintage that it is. She instantly gets on her treadmill. She's, like, in a leotard. She's got well, it's not, like, a nice-looking house, but by 80s standards, I guess that was, like, chic.
Yeah.
I suppose. But, yeah, she's got a nice, like, little gig going on there. Very stylish lady vampire.
I really like the Countess as a character.
Yeah.
And even this film is just, it's just enjoyable. I know we got quite serious with the sex stuff at the beginning, but it is meant to be it is harmless, or like in the grand scheme of the film. But the film is just a good time, and I think that's why I kind of fell in love with it the first time I watched it.
Yeah.
But it didn't do well. I think an interesting bit of trivia is the writer on this film basically blew through his paycheck quite early on and had to get a job at a video store.
Yeah.
And when the film was out on video, you heard someone say it's like, oh, whoever wrote this should never work in Hollywood again. Apparently, he just showered over, well, you got your wish.
You got your
something.
wish.
Again, it's hard to...
Yeah.
This is IMDb trivia. There's no way to know if this is true.
Yeah.
But I'd like to think it was true.
Do you remember who was originally up to play the Countess?
Oh, it was Elvira.
It's Cassandra Peterson. Yeah.
And that would have been... There was concept art, wasn't there? Because then it would have been a very different vampire. She would have been, gothic.
Yeah.
They rewrote it for her. And I think it would have worked. But ultimately, I'm very happy with the decision because I like Elvira.
Yeah. You just.
But Elvira is already a character, so it's like, are you casting? Like, is Elvira the character in it? Because otherwise, she's just going to be that character.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So I'm kind of glad they went down the route that they did.
I think so.
So yeah, the film didn't do terribly. It didn't do that good. It made its money back. But its biggest pro is that it introduced the world to Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
And it gave studios confidence in casting him as a leading man. And he is great in this film. He's so much fun. I do think Michael could have done the majority of the film. He still would have been really good.
I do.
But we got that movie. We got Teen Wolf.
Yeah.
And I love Teen Wolf.
And Michael J. Fox could absolutely carry a movie.
Yeah.
That was bollocks. Whoever thought that.
Some producers thought, oh, shit. Yeah, in terms of like vampire movies, it's a quite unique little one. I like the gender swapping of like the virginal character for the story.
Look, it's a very simple twist, but I like what they do with it. Being a virgin will kill you.
In this movie.
Having sex will save you.
Yes.
And if there was ever going to be a twist of that idea in a horror, of course it was going to be in an 80s movie.
Yeah. I love it when they come out of the coffin and Robin just spits a button at the Countess. So like, he's mine.
He's mine, bitch. I do.
I like that rivalry.
Yeah.
So,
it's a fun movie.
Yeah, it's a nice little Valentine's Day romantic comedy vampire film.
Definitely remembered and most famous for Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
If he wasn't in it, and even if Michael J. Fox, if they'd gone with him and he wasn't in it, I don't think the film would be as memorable.
No, it'd probably be as remembered as... Teen Wolf's probably slightly more remembered, but when you've got something like Back to the Future it comes out saying that's what he's remembered for. Do you have any more notes on this one?
I don't, to be honest, no. Really enjoyed it. Can get a bit deep when you start looking into like the thematics surrounding the pressures of sex that the movie does kind of, skirt around. But it's a fun little 80s, very, very cheesy 80s movie.
Banging soundtrack.
Yeah.
So yeah, check it out.
Worth a watch.
We had to rent it this time round, but it pops up on Freevee every now and then.
Yeah.
And it's just a good time. It's silly. And Jim Carrey is just a delight in it. So
yeah,
thanks a lot, guys. Let us know of romantic horrors. Because we did Ghosts last year, didn't we?
We love the Valentine's horrors that we do. Yeah. Because we have to think creatively. We have to think a little bit outside the box.
We've been putting off doing Valentine since we started this.
Yeah. I mean,
we've already done My Bloody Valentine.
We have a few ideas knocking around.
Got a few ideas. But yeah, drop a couple of horror movies you watch on Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
That we could maybe talk about next year. So thanks a lot, guys. See you next week.
Bye.